Hello, welcome to Tenum Talks by Tenum. Tenum is an e-learning ecosystem that provides techies with a space to learn hands-on skills virtually via an e-learning platform with instructor support and guidance, as well as learning resources and kits needed. Tenum Talks are virtual engagement sessions for techies where we code, we listen, we share with fellow techies, we learn, and we grow together. I am your host, Doreen Chamweno. Welcome to Tenum Talks.
Today we are tackling easy challenges. We were to have a speaker today on today's session. However, he asked to reschedule to next week. So next week we'll have a speaker session, and then this week we just do the code as usual. So now we will be looking at arrays. I hope you saw it. We are doing arrays today, and the challenge is so we'll start with the first challenge. That is, let me just share my screen so that you can see it. Are you able to see the challenge? Remove duplicates from sorted array. Hello, is anyone able to view that challenge?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so today we are doing 3 easy challenges, and for easy challenges, we take 10 minutes in the breakout rooms, work on the challenge, then we get back and create our solutions and showcase our solutions. So our first challenge is remove duplicates from an array, from a sorted array. And the question reads, it's from LeetCode, so we will be using this link. I will share with you. And remember, always use LeetCode. So if you've not opened it up, please open LeetCode so that you use LeetCode, not any other platform or even VS Code. It's better if you use the place itself so that we can test with the test cases they share with us and submit our solutions. So the first question reads, given an integer array nums sorted in non-decreasing order, remove the duplicates in place such that each unique element appears only once. The relative order of the elements should be kept the same, and return the number of the unique elements in nums. Consider the number of unique elements of nums to be k. To get accepted, you need to do the following things. Change the array nums such that the first k elements of nums contain unique elements in the order they were present in nums initially. The remaining elements of nums are not important, as well as the size of nums. Then you should return k. So this is how it will be judged. You will just look at this. And at the bottom here, we have an example. The example tells us if we're given an input 1, 1, 2, the output should be 2. However, when they're computing and then showing you the solution here, the output will be in this order. What matters is the first 2 elements, 1 and 2, and then anything extra does not really matter. It can be present, it can be absent, but the first 2 must be present in the order they were created. I hope the question is clear. Thumbs up if you are good, or say you're good. So now, since we are 7 out of 9, I believe there's someone who's not selected their language of choice. If there's anyone who's not selected their language of choice, please do so. There's a poll there asking you to select your language of choice. Please select the language that favors you. then we can now go into the breakout room. So today I see that people who will actually do this challenge by themselves, because I wanted us to try it in such a format that if you are doing with a certain programming language, if you're comfortable with Python, for example, you gather. If you're comfortable with any other language, you gather. So for this, I see Python, there are 4 people, JavaScript 1, C++1, Java 1. So can we go to the breakout rooms that way? Are you comfortable solving, like let's say if you're alone, are you comfortable with that setup? Do we do it based on programming languages as we've just clustered ourselves? Will that be comfortable for everyone?
Yeah, I think iko sawa.
10 minutes later.
So how was that first challenge? Anyone willing to go first? Emmanuel, how was that first challenge?
I'm here to crack mine. I'm still getting some errors.
Yeah.
I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
mine is still not running correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
But what was your thought process? You can just share what you would like it to, how you would like it to run. Then,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
If it passed any test case, you can also share your screen and then we see the progress.
So, okay. So my idea for the Python side was, first of all, I convert the nums to set.
Mm-hmm.
So set drops the duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
So it drops the duplicate. So once I have the set, then because we wanted to know k, which is the number of elements in the set. So
Yeah.
just do the end of, so when I get the set, I need to convert the set back to the list. So set remove the duplicates, then I convert to list via list, and then I pass the set. Then I'm supposed to get the list, and then from that list, then I do to get the k, the number of elements. Then I say length of that list. Yeah, so that was my thought process. But somehow, when I run the code, I'm getting so it's telling me that I'm getting 1 1 as my output, and 1 2. So I'm wondering why is the case.
You are doing it in Python?
Yes.
Okay. You could actually share your screen, then maybe someone could debug.
Okay, that's it. So this was the initial, so I was returning k. So first converted it to set the nums, and then convert the set to list via list, and then try to print, but somehow I can't see anything on the console. So and then did the length of these, and this is what I'm getting as an error. Okay, so I'm getting output as 1 1
instead of 1 2. That means highly likely. So did you remove the, okay, when you, how have you removed there from the nums?
Yeah.
Because what I was getting from this problem was, Unona, as much as you've created this set,
yes,
you're also, in the nums, you're also removing those elements from nums. So in the final, the first 2 elements kwa nums zinafaa zikuwe modified to be the actual 2 elements that are not similar. So how has that happened here with this list?
Okay, so here when you do set. Okay, I can just show you maybe on over here on Python. ID.
Oh, please, also, if anyone has expertise in Python and you see the issue, please share.
Okay, assuming I have A equals to 1, 1, 2.
Yeah.
And then, so if I say set of A, and I run it, let me print. So you see, I have a set of 1, 2. So,
Yeah.
which means set cannot have a duplicate
True.
figures, values. Then when I convert this to a list,
I think it's missing one closing parenthesis.
okay, so you see, I have
It's okay. Yeah,
So
true.
when I want to calculate the length, then I'll do length of that. But somehow the results on these lit code
So,
different
so maybe for the conversion could be okay, I don't know why it's not working. I would say maybe try with a for each or like iterating through rather than the conversion of the same. I don't know. But if anyone is seeing the issue, please share. Python people who are also doing in Python. Are you seeing what the problem could be?
Can I answer, please?
Yes, please.
Try. So, as I'm reading the question hapa inasema change the array num such that the first, so you see like change the array. So I think tulikuwa tunaongea na my partner that you should edit the array in place. So if you do something like try and print nums is equals to without duplicates. If it returns false, then you have a totally different array. Because I'm guessing that we needed
penye
to.
amesema list aeke set nums hapo ndani.
No, okay, just the thing is, when you do list, it returns a new array. So something you can try within this function, within the like ile ID ingine alikuwa, you can just try something like print and then use inside the parentheses nums equals then the other array that you got. So if it returns, it's just you're just checking a condition. If it returns true, then your solution is the problem might be something else. If it returns false, then you have a totally new array, which the question says change the array nums.
Yeah.
I say.
So just say print.
Actually on the printing ulikuwa tushafanya huko juu.
Acha afanyie tu hapa iko tu sawa. Nums equals. So that's a condition. If it will be true,
equals to that.
Yeah. Then it should either print true or false. So if you run, maybe lit code will allow us to like run that print inside the function.
So no if statement.
No, you don't need an if statement. It's fine.
Okay.
That's already it's a condition by itself.
Okay. Okay, so this one will return true or false.
Yeah.
So I'm
hoping lit code will allow us to print out that output. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . .
It's false.
Okay.
Oh,
It's false.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that might be the issue. You might need to iterate through instead of using
List.
the pre-built functionality, yeah, the set and list.
How about if I print this? Will it show it down?
Actually, do this. Print with without duplicates, and then print nums. But then they could still be separate arrays,
Yeah,
So
but
it's
with the same values within them.
yeah, that's the.
So
you created a new
unaona kwa hii ya
array.
pili, remove the is equal to
Okay.
with duplicate whatever.
Okay. So I print that one.
Yeah, print that.
So now nums will be a set if I'm not. Should be
Nums is still exactly the same. It was not even
still exactly the same.
touched.
Yeah, because I didn't do a change on the nums.
Yes.
It
converted
gave you a new. Okay.
So you worked with the new one, you did not work with nums. Okay, makes sense. Thank you, Gregory. Has it made sense?
So does it mean that I should have worked with nums instead of creating a new variable?
Ideally, because when it comes to the judging,
Yeah.
they're checking nums.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
So you're returning K, but then unaona kwa output in a letter 1, it should bring 1, 2, because they're using nums, the nums array that was given to check if the values were changed.
So does it mean I can just convert this to nums?
Hi, now back to you guys. Is that
No.
Python?
No. What? Okay. Even if you, let's say for example, what umefanya hapa, umefanya nini nums is equals to list. Just name this second part, name it to nums2, like the one you've converted to a list. Not that one, the other one. Yeah. So if you check the condition you used again, this will return a new list. You get? Because you're creating a new object.
Okay.
Like basically whenever you use list, if I'm getting you right, it creates a new object. It does not manipulate the previous.
Yeah. So what you should do is
you can
go through
iterating.
Yeah. But you can just try nums2 is equals to nums, see if you get a true. Maybe nakwambia stories za ajabu. Nums2. Yeah.
You know, usually when I do like tasks like this, I consider time as an important factor, like the time complexity. For example, if I use the iteration way, then it means if I have like maybe 1 million items on the list, or let's say 100,000, I'll have to wait the loop to run that number of times if I'm supposed to.
That is true.
That's valid. Just continue.
But then considering this creates a new, like also the functionality matters also. Like considering time complexity is good, but also the code must first run.
Yeah, I get it.
So for this case, for the code to run, if you use a list, you're creating a new array instead of manipulating the existing array, which is actually what's needed to be manipulated. That's just the issue. So maybe there's a better solution. We'll hear from the other people who will share. But then using a list in this manner is not the perfect solution.
Okay.
Because of what it's doing, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. I think someone else can share if they have become successful on the task.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
We've started on a good note. So who else? Maybe someone who did it in Python as well can go next, then we proceed. Gregory, Richard, I think you guys, Anthony. You guys were doing it in Python. Victor. But Victor was listening in. So anyone who would like to share the... Oh, Gregory, you are doing it in JS, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So still Python. Anyone who's done it in Python, Richard or Anthony, feel free to share.
I implemented it in JavaScript, not Python.
Oh, JavaScript as well. Okay. Anthony? He's exited. Sawa. So we can go to JS. JavaScript people, Gregory and Richard. It's your turn.
Okay, we didn't quite finish on implementing the solution, is what I'm working on at the moment. But the ideal way that we are sort of like working on is, okay, you can just sort of share my screen for a bit. I haven't even gone through the functionality of the code, especially this down part, because that was the main thing that we didn't work on. So like what idea was is that, let's say like you are expecting an array of said elements. So the first check was like, okay, for our algorithm was like, it depends on the length to be greater than 2, because it was sort of like comparing with the next element and that kind of stuff. So I'll just explain through it. So the first thing was, let's say like it was assigning, let's say, to, I'll just annotate. Let's say I have an element of A, B, C, D. So let's say like index I was being assigned to A, then B was given to J. That is like the first. So with this, it means that the number of elements need to be 2 or greater. Okay, so let's change that in the code. But the main thing was like with I, keeps track of like the stable indexes or that kind of stuff. So let's say we are just, okay, the elements, again, they are sorted in an increase in order, so inarahisha vitu zingine, so iko in such a way that like unaanza from A, I, then so like with I you are in A, then so you loop through like the rest of these elements in such a way that if you encounter the first element which is greater than this, enough like per se inafaa kufanya that. Okay, hapa ndio the summation, but per se like inafaa kufanya that, like if ianze at this second one, not really the first one, in such a way that like since B ni greater than A, let's say B itakuwa stable, but so like in case it wasn't like this was also like A, then this B was also like A, then C and you got B. Inafaa kuallow, let's say that the inner loop will run until encounter B that is greater than this. Ndio itafanya like this B to be swapped with the next value after I, and that kind of stuff, until in such a way that like imesha malizana with the I's such that J cannot, there's no increase in value of J after the correct value of I. I think I can, sijui kama mmenielewa ama mmepotea nyote. I think I can use this example. Let's say if it was to start at 0, so say 0, then there'll be J with, which is, let's say, 0 sasa. So the algorithm is supposed to work in such a way that like there's an outer loop that goes through this stuff. Then so the inner loop, let's say like now travels from the next element after I in such a way that like if it encounters an element which is greater, itachukua, let's say the greater element which is, let's say hapa, ieke hapa, then ipeleke 0 hapa. Then iendelee in such a way, sasa the new updated I inafaa kuwa saa hapa. Then sasa inafaa kuendelea in such a way the next loop when I iko hapa, the value j will be greater than I, ndi itaiweka hapa sasa. Let's say yeke hii 2 hapa, then iendelee hivyo, then yeke 3 hapa since it's greater than I. Okay, nafanya like swaps. So like nikishamalizana 3, then like 4. Nikishafika the end of like my j zimesha encounter the end of this array, like the j zimesha malizana, inamaanisha there's no more additional swap. So like after that, so there's some sort of like iterator that's supposed to like keep track of like nimefanya 0, nimefanya, oh yeah, this is the clean one, nimefanya 0, nimefanya 1, nimefanya 2, nimefanya 3, nimefanya 4. So let's say if I'm to encounter an like something that I've already seen, I'm supposed to pause it and then just return these counted elements, something like that. But so like the thing with the sorted, like zinafanya to in place, then counting, they like could be sort of like keeping track of what you have seen, then the counting is done. Yeah, that, yeah. So I don't know the suggestion from you guys, or yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Views, people? Any comments on that?
Just a question.
Yeah.
Hata kama alikuwa group member wangu. Nini, could you please share your screen again?
But okay, the annotated part is off. So I think, and the code is not okay per se. But you're gonna like me explain on.
Me too. I was just trying to play. To play the scenario through my head. If this second, what's the second for look for?
Let's say like it's supposed to update this the values that's, let's say, from Harper. Okay, but they just need to annotate it again. Let's say with the second for loop is in such a way that like this is okay. So like I'm supposed to go through this in such a way that I update the next value after the current place that I am.
I don't think that's the one he's talking about, because I believe there are 2 while loops at the top.
Yeah. So see, there are 2 both loops. Like one is the outer one, then the second one inafaa kufanyia kazi yenye nimetoka kuexplain, but the code is not really okay. I've not gone through it and like debugged it, so don't mind much about the code.
But the logic makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay.
Comments? Okay. So we can, for me, I believe the logic makes sense. I don't know how it performs, because in the previous session, I had mentioned, like, I don't know it was which session, but I had asked a question on if, like, let's say, for example, my solution was JavaScript as well, but I used the way the method Emmanuel used. You use the set, then okay, after the set, I loop through. So now I don't know which performs better when you do, like, now you know your case. It makes sense because the 2 while loops, then the inner loop itaende nika hadi zipatane at the end or something. That's when it ends. So I don't know if doing the 2 while loops is a better solution as compared to using the now internal libraries that exist. Casa now, for example, in this case, we just use the set. Instead of doing all that, we just use the set. So I don't know if anyone has an answer to that.
Maybe you can just measure on time performance or something. But
yeah, I think once the last person shares, I'll share my time performance. Then once you're done, we compare the performance of both. Then we see.
Okay, maybe I can just try and finish it up then.
Yeah. So that we know how is it always better to approach these things. But thank you. That is a smart one. I had not thought of it that way. Gregory.
I want to try.
Yeah.
I haven't really written it out. It's just like what I'm thinking I could. So something I'm thinking maybe I could go through the whole array, but I would have to keep track of two indexes, just as Richard has done, the current one and the previous one. Okay. So let's say that's what I call them, and through each index I would check if, because they're already arranged in ascending order, so I can't have values. Okay, they're already in order, so the only thing I need to check is if two values are equal. So for example, let me just share my screen. Which one is it? This one. Let's share. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So I'm looking for so let's say I use this example of this array here. I would start my iteration at this point. So index 1, and I would, okay, not index 1, I would start my iteration at index 2. So, is there a way to erase this? Anyway, I would start my iteration here and keep track of this current index. So let me call it C, and this previous one. Okay. Then I would check if these two values are sorry, I need to confuse that. Let's just say I would start my iteration at index 1. Okay. Then I would keep track of current and previous, and I would compare if these two are equal. If they are equal, I would take this current number and push it to the end. Does it make sense? Now the only issue with this is that it makes, I would remove
You
it
have
from
to move
here.
everything else to the front.
Yeah, you have to move everything else to the front. So that would be the issue. I haven't really implemented it, just a thought that I had. Yeah.
But what of, because you intend to move it to the end, what of interchanging it with what's at the end? If it's not equal, if they're not equal, what would that mean?
If I maybe I interchange it with the
immediate next.
Yeah, because if I interchange it with the one at the end, it would disorder. It would.
Oh, the order
it would
will
mean
shift.
It would go from 4, 3, 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and they intend it to be the same order.
So then if when I think about it, it wouldn't work, because the next one, if they are equal, and if let's say the next 3 are equal,
you have a mini array up, a mini loop. Again.
Yeah, maybe you could have a mini loop.
So at that point you have 3 loops.
No, at this point you have already have one. Without having to, if I just, let's say, if the solution for exchanging it with the next one would work, I would only need one array, because I'm you see, let's say for like here, what I've done, I'm keeping track of n and I nums I and nums I minus 1. So I don't need to. Okay, let me just try and implement something. But it was just I thought the issue is you have to move almost everything. Maybe I could try slicing the array and then moving it, and then exchanging a slice for for a number for the current. So for example, then we will exchange this. We will take this slice and exchange it with 1. So I will swap 1 and this. Maybe that would simplify things. Yeah, but I'll try it and I'll tell you guys how it goes. Even
Yes,
if it makes
please.
sense. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone who has a comment on that? I see Victor has shared a function to the chat.
Yes, there's a logic using JavaScript. My laptop imezima, nilisema acha ni join tu. Sasa nimeangalia logic inaweza work in that case. Kutumia that for loop, then you look through the contents of the sorted array, then for every unique item I push to that unique array using that logic. So essentially inaonekana fiti.
Yeah. I actually wanted to do something like this. So that as you talk, there is something that's visible. Just a minute. Capture. Then I don't know if I can. I wanted to. I can't share it. So you can just continue.
So in that for loop, you set an initial value starting from index 1. Then you compare the index you're starting at, the length of the array, and then you increment. So on that if statement, you're checking at index 1 of the sorted array, and then you're checking if it's not equal to the, if this code is not clear, to the unique array. Okay, acha nione kama naweza fungua a few minutes.
It's okay. So I believe everyone has shared their solutions. Henry, I think you are. You joined after, so you were not part of the previous one. So I have noticed our time has really gone. It's 9:06 and we've only done one problem. So now it's up to you if we do a second or we give ourselves as assignments and then we push to the group. Okay, so the solution I was sharing for my case was this. So what I did was exactly what Emmanuel was doing in Python. Created a num set, a set of nums to remove the duplicates. And then now, because even in JS, when I created a new array using array from, when I created a new array from the set using array from, it was not working. It was not bringing inside the same array that the way I intended it to. So I just removed all the elements from nums, and then I iterated through all the elements of num sets, setting them now in the nums, and then returning the nums length. So in essence, nums now has the elements in num set exactly the same. And so that works because of that.
So now to compare that solution with, so that we can also compare it with what you guys will get when I run it. Because we talked about also checking if the performance, like which performs better, so that we know what we're supposed to do. So this one performs at 44%. And also when it comes to memory, it's very vitu mingi. Yeah, so now we can compare it with the other, because I believe now this was as minimal as it could get. I don't know, but that's my thought. So we're using internal functions and then also this looping. Then we'll compare it with the solution that, for example, whoever shares, but Richard has said he'll share his, then we'll compare those two and see if using the 2 while loops and then now iterating through the list, the array, and then venye alikuwa akisema you shift the items forward when they're greater than something, we see if that will perform better. Then also the solution that who has shared, the solution that Victor has shared, but he has left. Okay. Yeah, the solution that Gregory is also working on. Then yours, Emmanuel, I believe, may perform similarly to mine, but you will complete it, then we'll see. Yeah. So the other 2 challenges, what do you guys think? We do them as a takeaway. Then we give our solutions on the next session or something, or we share it to the Gregory and Richard. I shared with you the link to the repository. So now Emmanuel and Henry and Ashley, please feel free to share with me your GitHub repositories, your GitHub names, so that I can share with you the repository, and then you're free now to add or even get whatever we've shared before. Yes, Gregory, do them later. That's cool. Yeah, I think doing them later will also be good. Any other suggestions? Question, Emmanuel Kens. Okay, let me give you my number so that you text me, because it will be easier if it's a text rather than here, because I can't follow up here. That's my number. Okay. That's my number without the backslash. Please text me. Text me so that it's easier for me to follow up with them. Then also, if you're comfortable, you can also share with me your Twitter handle so that we can always tag you whenever we have a session, and I have, like, let's say if I screenshot whatever you've done or anything, I can tag you. Share with me your details, but do it kwa WhatsApp as well, not here. So if anyone has any questions, how was it actually compared, like when it's automatically grouped or this type of grouping, which is better? Like if you're Python users, you do Python. If you're JS devs, you do JS, or mixed up. How have you found?
I think for me, grouping people is the best, because on the JS session, I'll do nothing.
You prefer if it's grouping according to your language?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Also, Gregory prefers language specific. That's great. Yeah, I feel like that can be a better approach. So we'll be doing the poll every session so that we group ourselves that way. And even if you find yourself alone in your programming language of choice, I believe it's always an opportunity for you to try it out, to try out the solution. Anyway, it's still okay whichever way. Yeah. Oh, but then that would mean you don't get to meet new people. So is there a way to mix it up? Okay, so so we'll do this. If you find yourself alone in your programming language, then you choose either you do it alone and in the programming language that you've chosen, or you go to a breakout room of your choosing. Is that better? Okay, great. Yeah, so you'll choose your programming language, then we'll group according to that. Because I've also noticed some people have left. Maybe it's because they were alone in their rooms. Physical meetups. So far we've had none, but we are thinking on it. We can do a physical meetup sometime. But so far we've had no physical meetups. We've just been doing them virtually. Yeah, I also believe it would be great. We can also do like a hackathon type of thing. It would be fun. But yeah, we can think on that. So welcome, Ashley. Ashley is a JavaScript developer and has started on Python. Welcome, our first female. Okay, after me, our third female after Victoria. We are very few here. So welcome. Any other questions, concerns? Let me just show you the other two questions so that you can do them at your free time and then share with me qua GitHub. You just put it to the Git repository. So the second question was, given remove elements, so you're given an integer array, nums, and an integer val. You're supposed to remove all the occurrences of val in nums in place. The order of the elements may be changed. Then return the number of elements in nums which are not equal to val. I'll copy this. Then I'll paste it to the chat. This is our second question. Then our last question is, search insert position, given a sorted array of distinct integers and a target value, return the index of if the target is found. If not, return the index where it would be if inserted in the order. You must write an algorithm with a ON or log of n runtime complexity. Yeah, so those are the three challenges that we were to do today. We've only managed to do this first one. So take your time, do the second and the third, then share your solution, push it to the GitHub repository, where, let me just share that repository. Not my account. The repository is, just a minute. So I don't know what are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, we are seeing it.
Yeah, so this is the repository where we share. So far we have the three we've done, and the naming format is, well, I'll create the folder with the solutions I have, and then now you can add your solutions, but if you find it's not added, you can create the folder and then we add the solutions there. So naming is, you start with the, for example, today's challenge was 26. So you start with 26 underscore, let me go with 26 underscore, then the name using, this is camel case, using camel case or Pascal, I guess it's whichever, but use camel case, and then underscore, and then the application, the platform that the solution is from, and then now the dot extension of the language you're using. Yeah, so basically that's it. That's where we are adding the solutions. So far, we've had these 3. And today's session, I'm going to add it, and then also you can commit yours as well and push it, and then I'll merge it. Any questions, concerns, or anything you would like to address before we end the session? Thank you, Richard, for contributing. Richard shared a solution on Python about the lit code, the one we did last week. So check it out as well. Okay, so if there are no questions, comments, or concerns, I believe we have arrived to the end of the session. Have a good night.
Hello. I was asking if you could send the link to join the WhatsApp group, and also that link for that repo on the chat to be helpful.
Yeah, sure. If you want to be added as a collaborator, please share. There's a way you can request on GitHub, but you can share with me your GitHub credentials. Okay, so I've shared with the exact nini, but unaweza toa that end part, right? I've shared the link to the repo. Also, feel free to add resources. Like, let's say if you have a video that you believe would be helpful, share resources here. We are working on a group. We've not yet created it, but once we do, I will share it with you. Sawa, if we're all well, please have a good night. See you on the next one. Itakuwa a talk on data structures still, but someone talking to us about 1-2 things about it.